Told you she played on Nickelodeon's Hyena. Yes, I said it right. She's got a new single out. It's called I'ma Do Me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show for the first time, Miss Latangela Newsome. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. What's going on?
You are so welcome. I guess the first question of the day has to be Pop-Tarts. Do you eat them plain or do you toast them?
Plain. All day. Plain.
Really?
Yeah, when they're hot, they taste totally different. Like, you can only do toaster strudels hot. Like, that's what those are meant for.
Yeah, you're right about that. So how you been? Welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you. I've been busy lately, but I'm really good. Really good.
Well, good. Now, where are you from originally?
Everywhere. I'm a military brat, so it's hard. That's always a hard question for me because, like, all of my family's in Florida. My mom's side of the family is from Florida, so I spent a lot of time there. But I actually grew up in New York City.
Okay.
So, but I have no family there, so it's hard to say I'm from there. You know, I feel like I'm perpetrating a little bit.
So when they say what hood you repping, you gonna say New York?
Right. It's like my people in New York gonna be like, "What? You're not from Florida?" And then my people from Florida are like, "Wait, you're from Pensacola?" So I'm like, I don't know. And then I spent a lot of time overseas, you know, as a military brat. So a little bit.
Now, which one of your parents? I said parents. See, I didn't. The DC came out of me that time.
Yeah.
Which one of your parents were in the military?
My dad. He was Air Force.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, I did 3 years in the Army myself, but I was 18, 19, 20 years old. So I I did Hawaii and all that good stuff. So I had a blast doing that.
Yeah,
so
exactly. You're partying. Yeah.
Yeah, you know that. Well, tell your dad I said thank you very much for serving as well. Okay. Now, a military brat, as we like to call it, or dependent. We used to love to call them dependents. A dependent. When was it? When did you realize, or let me ask you this, what did you want to be growing up, traveling around with Dad in the Air Force? Did you ever want to join the military, or was acting something that you always wanted to do?
Yes, no, absolutely not. I did not want to join the military. That was never on the list. I've always been sort of a showbiz kid. I started off doing pageants, actually. When we were stationed in Texas at one time for a short amount of time, so the pageants are really big in Austin, so I actually did some pageants there, statewide and citywide there. I did really well, but it wasn't my thing. I kind of wanted to segue really quick into, like, doing some commercials. So I actually went overseas for a while, and on my YouTube page, also, I want people to tune in because I have, like, some old videos of, like, me overseas and setting up my little videos with my cameras and all kind of stuff. So I've always been, you know, into acting and singing, and wherever I could express that, you know, I used to write poems for the Olive Branch overseas. I had some poems published over there, and I used to perform on bass whenever I could. And then from overseas, I went to New York, and that came from being in a seminar, sort of like, you know, where you go and kind of showcase your talent for acting agents and that sort of thing. And an agent picked me up from one of those and asked me to move to New York. And so that's kind of how I got up there. And I think I was like 13 and stayed up there for a good amount of time. And it was supposed to be a summer originally, but then I ended up spending about 10 years there. So.
Wow. Yeah. That's how Atlanta was for me. I was supposed to come to Atlanta just for the summer of 1987, and then now you look at it now. I've been here since '87, so '87 to 2012 is like 20 plus years something.
Right. Right.
Because I got a camera on me right now, I can't do the math because I have to use my fingers, so I'm not going to even attempt to calculate it.
I know. Math wasn't my subject either.
So yeah, y'all do it. Somebody do the math for me and tell me, please. That's what I need. Somebody
please
help. Malik, can you do the math? Now, you said that you did pageants growing up. Always had the entertainment bug in you. You get a call from Nickelodeon. Did you audition for the part?
Yes, I actually auditioned for Nickelodeon a lot of times, and they told me no a lot of times before I actually booked the role with them. So it was just about being persistent with Nickelodeon. Actually, right before I did Hyena, I was cast on another show that was called Rep at the time, and it was based off of City Kids, which is a repertory company out of New York. And I was a part of that, and that's what kind of brought me to their attention because I had that background. So they actually made me the star of that show but the Taina script came in and was actually 10 times better, and they thought that I suited the Maritza character a lot better, so they just moved me from one show to the next. But yeah, I have a history with them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and when you look back at those days on Taina, when did you guys really? I guess it's a two-part question. When did you guys realize that you had a real hot show? Because you went for 2 seasons, correct?
Yes, it went for 2 seasons. It actually was canceled prematurely, but we realized the show was a hit the night we debuted, and our numbers were close to Super Bowl numbers.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Sunday night, and we were right up against Super Bowl numbers, and we were like, oh my God.
Wow. I was going to say, when you look back at it, too, when you mentioned, I was going to say something about it, when you mentioned that it was, canceled prematurely, do you know why the studio made that decision, or was it just business as usual with them?
Right, it was a lot of politics. I don't know all of the details of it, but I know it had a lot to do because we were a musically based show. There was a soundtrack that was released under Nickelodeon Jive Records, and that was a very new company at that time. So there wasn't a lot of money, but a majority of us were singers as well. So it was one of those things where you either kind of make the sacrifice and sign, do the 360 deal with Nickelodeon, or you kind of, leave yourself open for certain things. And that's what I kind of hear they were struggling with was, because they needed us to be exclusive with them musically as well, because it was going to be really hard to drop an album as Maritza and then drop an album as Latangela. It would have been 2 total different characters. So I think they were working through a lot of that financially, and the show kind of, had bigger numbers than we expected right away, so they weren't prepared to lock everybody in, I think, the way they needed to make the show go. So.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was going to say, it's interesting you say that point, because I think now, when we see artists today, whether it's in entertainment, camera, music, especially music, when you talk about how you get locked into deals, you know what I'm saying? And we look at all of the mistakes that a lot of big artists made, back in the day, when we look back at TLC and we look at, New Edition, we just go back to groups like that, and they talk about how they made those mistakes. Did any of those mistakes that they made, did that really help you understand the business more?
I think so. My mom is also an entertainer. Her background is mostly live music, but she has also written for artists like Inez Andros, who's a big gospel singer, and she used to open up for a lot of bands in Austin and stuff. So I have the history of actually growing up with my mom, because she's been a part of the business for a long time as well. And I've kind of always been a little bit business-minded. And whatever I didn't know, I would pick up the book that everybody used to make you pick up, this business called music, and that was the Bible back then. And just doing. I'm a reader and I'm a researcher, so I try to stay on the ball as much as I can with my business. So I definitely take notes from those artists to try not to make the same mistakes. But again, sometimes when you are starting off, you do have to make some sacrifices. In order to even get your face out there. That's just the name of the game, and people expect, you're going to come out and make $1 million on your first project, and a lot of that is just a promotional tool. You don't start making money till later on, but so, it's hard to differentiate sometimes, because you don't know when you're being taken advantage of or when you're paying your dues, So
right, oh, wow.
I think there's a fine line, So.
Wow. On it, ain't you?
A little bit. Try to be,
Now, you still keep in touch with any of your old castmates?
I do, as much as I can. I try to keep. Lisa was always my girl. We were the best of friends working on the show. I'm kind of an old soul, so me and her hung out the most out of everybody. But definitely everybody is family to me. But me and her definitely keep in contact. I think, more frequently than everyone else, but I do I do stay in contact with them. I just check in with everybody, and they check in with me. My mom's number never changes, so they'll call me, whether it's 2 years later, they'll call my mom and check on me or whatever, but me and Lisa, we talk all the time. Okay.
Girl, what you know about Lisa?
Oh, I know about some Lisa now.
Come on, Lisa Nicole. Now, did you laugh at her on set when you saw some of them old outfits she used to wear doing those videos with the coat jam?
Oh, definitely. There's actually an episode where we recreated one of her videos. I'm sure the fans remember that, when she pulled off that headband and the pink top. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Classic.